Hello everyone, Tim Gaming, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you another one of my FIFA 13 tutorials. Now today's tutorial is a little bit of a hybrid. It covers two areas, and that two areas that it covers is defending against pace and defending against a team who keeps a lot of possession. Now this game is a very good example for this because, you know, in the first half my opponent has about 60% possession, and in his team he's got players like Emenike, he's got Dumbia, he's got Jesus Navas, you know, a lot of pace in that team. And I'd seen a couple of comments, especially on my squad builder videos, when I've been, you know, showing you my teams, going, oh, you'd really struggle to defend against pace with that team, how do you do it? So this video is going to show you how to do that, hopefully. So, yeah, my team's pretty much my strongest team. I think there might be a couple of changes, but this is basically the team that I showed you in my squad builder a couple of weeks back, so you know who the lineup is. Whenever you're up against a team where you can see they have a lot of quick players, you need to be ready to defend slightly differently, and the most effective way of defending against a team with a lot of quick players is to sit a little deeper, because quick players want to run into space. They want to run beyond a fullback or past a centre half into acres of space behind your back line. So what you're looking to do is sit a little bit deeper and stop them from doing that, because if there's no space in behind you, their major strength is suddenly neutered. So instead of just being able to run around you, they now have to play in front of you, and this plays into my team's strengths. And you can see here, you know, I'm continually dragging defenders back, trying to force him wide, trying to stop him from just running round me, and waiting as late as possible to put the tackle in. I mean, this is a really good example here. My opponent's passing the ball around, I'm under no real danger, and then even when he gets a couple of lucky bobbles, he still can't get a decent shot off. It's still a really tame effort from well outside the area. And this is really what I want to get across to you guys very early in this tutorial. When you're up against a team who has a lot of quick players, sit deep. The last thing you want to do is trying to be making tackles on the halfway line, because if you miss that, all of a sudden he's got a free 50-metre run to the goal, and the chances are no one's going to catch him and he's going to score. So what you're looking to do is cut that option out as fast as possible and as often as possible. Obviously every now and again you're going to get caught on a counter attack and a quick guy's going to run around the wing and it's going to be tricky to defend. But if you go into games thinking like this and thinking, right, he's got a quick team, therefore I'm going to sit back a little bit and let him play in front of me, that's the way to defend. And you can see in this half, like I said earlier, my opponent has 60% possession. I think he has one shot on target, and as you can see I take the lead very early on, so the pressure's all of a sudden on him. So I've sat a little bit deeper, I've countered his pace attack, and I've got the early goal. And in this situation, my opponent does what most sensible FIFA players would do. He tries to change it up a little bit, and what he does is he transitions into more of a passing game, because you saw earlier on in the match he was just trying to run round me with his pacey players, and I've cut that out pretty much straight away, so he's struggling to do that. From now on, what he tries to do instead is play a little short passing game, and this brings me on nicely to my second part of the tutorial, because as you can see here, my opponent is now trying to knock it around in my half, and I'm just not getting close to him. I don't want to get close to him because, I mean, you can see here, the vast majority of the time, he's got the ball more than 40 yards out from my goal. If he wants to shoot from 45 metres out, he can be my guest, because the chances are he's going to blat it over the bar and I get the ball back. You see so many players, when they're up against an opponent who likes to pass, go absolutely barreling into tackles 50-60 metres out of goal and miss and suddenly leave a massive hole for your opponent to exploit. And you saw from that little passage of play there, I just refused to put a tackle in until my opponent got close to goal. He tried to pass, he passed it wide into the little channel of the area. I had two defenders put pressure on him then. He put a really weak cross in. My centre-half just calmly put the ball away, and it dropped to my striker and I could launch a counter-attack. And that was just so easily defended, it was untrue. I mean, a lot of you guys message me saying, you know, I find defending really tricky. The key to defending, especially against pace teams and teams who like to play possession, is not to put a tackle in. I know that sounds really strange, but you've got to get it into your head that the worst thing you can do in FIFA with all of these pacey players, with the style of the play, is miss a tackle. If you go charging into a challenge 35 metres out and miss, you've got a player on your backside, your opponent's untouched, he's running towards your back four, and all of a sudden there's loads of space for him to exploit. Space is the primary commodity when you're attacking on FIFA. You want to be able to find space, so if you can shut that down, you really do stop your opponent from doing anything useful. And once again, you know, my opponent comes again, there's no space, he tries to force a pass, I cut it out, and even though I lose the ball here, I don't panic, I just keep defending the way I do, and because there's no options, my opponent tries to force it again, and he gives me the ball back again. And this is the move that I score my third goal from. So I've had well less than half of the possession. I've had 3 shots on target coming up right now. This is my third, and as you can see, they've all gone in. So the key is to stay patient and don't panic when you're up against players like this. Rash decisions and rash challenges just lose you goals, and it gets you frustrated, and then you're more likely to make a rash tackle, which is more likely to get you to concede again and again, and it snowballs and you end up losing 5-0 and you want to punch the screen. And that is not the way to improve. You know, this method of defending seems pretty alien, especially if you played, you know, FIFA 10 and earlier than that. Because in those FIFAs, it was just stupidly easy to defend. You could hold one button and your team would basically do the work for you. So now that there's actually a defensive mechanic in the game that requires thought and requires planning and tactics and appreciating what your opponent's trying to do, a lot of people really struggle with it because they're used to just that one button escape and they say, oh, this defending's rubbish. You know, tactical defending, in my opinion, is the best change FIFA's had in 5, 6, 7 years. It really is a brilliant change because it rewards people who think and defend like you're supposed to defend in football. And the way people defend in football is they have tight lines, they pressure the ball when it's in a dangerous area, but they don't go barreling up around the pitch and charging around, because that just tires your players out, it drags them out of position, and that's when good players can exploit you. I mean, you just look at the play here. I've got 9 men behind the ball here, and there's just absolutely no danger. No, he's twisting and turning. He turns into my player. He knocks it away. I make another interception. Then I get the ball out myself, play it to my unmarked centre attacking midfielder, and even though it gets charged down, I can keep the ball, switch the play, and I can roll on my attack again. And it's just very simple once you get the mindset right, because, you know, like I've been saying, there is that determination to win the ball back as soon as you lose it. You know, you lose the ball, you go, oh, I want to score a goal, give me that ball back, and you charge players around, and that's when you get picked off. It's much better to defend like you're seeing here, especially against pace and possession teams, which this guy was sort of a hybrid. He tried to be pacey, didn't work, so he switched to possession, and I shut him down. So, and this is a really good video for seeing how to defend against both types of teams, and I hope you've learned something from watching me defend, because, you know, even in situations like that, when he was in behind my back 4, there really was no danger, because I had 2 of my players coming back, I got the block in, and then as you can see, I managed to defend the corner, clear my lines, and that's pretty much half time. And when the match stats come up in a couple of seconds, you'll be able to see exactly what I mean, because I think I had 4 shots, 3 on target, and I scored 3 goals. My opponent had 1 shot on target, I think, the entire game, and he kept 60% of possession. So my opponent had a lot of play, but as you saw from the video, it wasn't threatening play. And this is what I want to get across to you guys. If the opponent is just knocking it around in midfield, don't worry. You know, really don't worry at all. There's no problem in him doing that. The only time you need to start to put pressure on is when he gets within 25 yards. But even then, you don't lunge in. I mean, you saw from my defending, the vast majority of the times I won the ball back, it was an interception, or I pushed the striker into a box and he was surrounded by defenders and he tried to turn out and my defender just nicked it in. I didn't slide tackle, I didn't try and lunge in with every defender I had. I just stayed disciplined, kept the lines, and then when my opponent made a mistake, because I've been disciplined and had the players in position, they could just swoop in, make the interception, and I could counter-attack. And now, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, because defending against pace and defending against possession have been 2 questions that have come up all the time. And I've been looking for a game like this to really, you know, show to you guys how to defend against both. And I think this game really does do that. You know, because in this first half, you know, he had 60% possession, he had pace everywhere, and I completely shut him down. He had 1 shot on target, and like you saw from the video, that was a fluffed one from about 20 yards out. No danger whatsoever. Then I counter-attacked against him and ended up going in at half time, 3-0, very comfortable, and really no effort was expended. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've picked something up, and as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.